In our headlines on this Monday, July 28th, here in South Korea, Finance Minister Koo Yoon-chul is scheduled to sit down with his U.S. counterpart Scott Bessent on July 31st, that is this coming Thursday, for trade talks while the EU and the U.S. agree on a broad tariff framework. Meanwhile, North Korean leader Kim Jong-un's sister Kim Yo-jong claims the regime has, quote, no interest in efforts by the Lee Jae-myung administration to improve inter-Korean ties. And here in South Korea, the temperature continues to hover well above 35 degrees Celsius nationwide, and at least 11 people have lost their lives to heat-related illnesses thus far this summer. The US and the EU have agreed to a tariff framework that imposes a blanket duty of 15% on most imports from the European bloc into the American market. Our Lee Seung-jae has details.
The United States and the European Union avoided a major trade war as the two sides agreed on a 15% tariff on most EU goods going into the U.S. on Sunday. The framework trade agreement was announced by U.S. President Donald Trump and European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen during their meeting at the U.S. leaders' luxurious golf course in Western Scotland.
We have stabilized on a single 15% tariff rate for the vast majority of EU exports. This rate applies across most sectors, including cars, semiconductors, pharmaceuticals. This 15% is a clear ceiling, so no stacking, all inclusive.
The deal also includes a 0-for-0 tariff rate for certain strategic products. Those goods include aircraft and aircraft parts and certain chemicals and generic drugs. However, no decision has been made on wine and spirits. Also, a major part of the trade deal is the European bloc agreeing to purchase $750 billion worth of energy from the U.S.
Is going to agree to purchase from the United States $750 billion worth of energy, $750 billion worth of energy. They are going to agree to invest into the United States $600 billion more than they're investing already. So they're investing.
The deal means the EU has now avoided Trump's initial proposal of 30% tariffs on goods from the EU. The U.S. has also struck deals with the UK, Japan, Indonesia, and Vietnam. Trump announced that 3 to 4 more countries could strike a deal with the U.S. in the coming days. Lee Seung-jae, Arirang News.
Right, and taking into account that outlook by Mr. Trump, South Korea is actively working to seal a trade deal with the U.S. ahead of this coming Friday's deadline on the pause in country-specific tariffs. Our correspondent Kim Do-yeon has the latest.
After a last-minute cancellation derailed his trip to the U.S. last week, Finance Minister Koo Yoon-chul's new date for a one-on-one meeting with U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent is July 31st, the day before the U.S. tariffs pause ends. With the tariffs set to take effect the following day, this could be Seoul's last chance to strike a deal before the 25% duties kick in as announced, along with other tariffs for specific items such as cars, steel, and chips. Adding pressure, Japan has already secured a 12.5% tariff on auto exports compared to a rate of 25% rate for other nations, giving its automakers a potential edge over Korean competitors. In response, Seoul is reportedly preparing a broad package of proposals, including deeper cooperation in strategic sectors like shipbuilding and semiconductors and significantly expanded investment commitments. One key bargaining chip, a possible boost to Korea's $100 billion plus investment plan aimed at matching Japan's earlier pledge of $550 billion in exchange for tariff concessions. The presidential office is also on full alert. President Lee Jae-myung is said to be watching the situation around the clock as the deadline approaches, closely monitoring the situation.
The president's message is to approach the negotiations with multiple factors in mind, considering the complex and evolving global landscape, and to aim for outcomes that could bring significant benefits to our country.
On Saturday, the top office convened its second emergency meeting in as many days, led by Policy Chief Kim Yo-jong and National Security Advisor Ri Sung-rak. With both the industry and trade ministers currently in the U.S., they joined virtually to brief on their latest meetings with U.S. counterparts. Shipbuilding again emerged as a key point of discussion, according to Industry Minister Kim Jong-kwan, reflecting Washington's continued interest in strategic manufacturing ties. Kim Do-yeon, Arirang News.
In other news, South Korea is committed to seeking communication with North Korea, despite the latter's tough rhetoric against potential cross-border interaction. Kim Jong-sil covers these comments by the Unification Ministry here and more.
South Korea says it won't be swayed from its push for peace. Following North Korea's first official statement since the Lee Jae-myung administration took power, the presidential office said Monday it's taking the North's remarks seriously, but insists its focus remains on building peace through steady, necessary action. At the Unification Ministry, the message was much the same.
We believe the statement shows Pyongyang is closely watching our policy direction. While distrust from the North remains deep, our push for peace and inter-Korean cooperation will continue, calmly and with consistency.
Officials here say they won't be swayed by every comment from Pyongyang and that they'll be sticking to a steady, non-confrontational approach. But the tone from the North was very different. The statement came earlier in the day from Kim Yo-jong, the sister of North Korea's leader, Kim Jong-un. She dismissed Seoul's suspension of border loudspeaker broadcasts as not worthy of recognition and criticized other recent moves, including talk of resuming tourism and halting leaflet campaigns. She also rejected speculation that Kim Jong-un might be invited to the APEC meeting in the South, calling the idea a vain illusion. Kim accused the South of being trapped in the ghost of unification by absorption and said North Korea no longer sees the South as part of one people, but simply as another state.
Even before Seoul's new cabinet takes shape, North Korea is rejecting anything it sees as a threat to its interests. With no shift in the ROK-US alliance, the North sees little value in peace overtures.
Analysts say Pyongyang may be rejecting dialogue to sideline Seoul and entrench its two-state strategy, a move that runs directly against the South's push for reconciliation. Kim Jong-sil, Arirang News.
Meanwhile, the first direct passenger flight between Moscow and Pyongyang in some 3 decades has taken off. This past Sunday evening, a Pyongyang-bound flight by Russia's Northwest Airlines departed from Moscow. Each flight can accommodate about 400 passengers and takes around 8 hours. Tickets cost roughly $560. Prior to this route, the only direct flight between Russia and North Korea was the Vladivostok-Pyongyang route. Russia is also reportedly considering a direct route to Wonsan on North Korea's east coast. South Korea took part in one of the Indo-Pacific's largest and most complex military exercises, which began earlier this month. Our defense correspondent Kim Bo-kyung reports.
South Korea's Navy and Marine Corps have successfully completed their part in a biennial multinational exercise in Australia that went on for around a month, starting early this July. Named Talisman Saber, meaning sword with mysterious power, the exercise marks the largest bilateral military drill between Australia and the U.S. Aiming to hone operational capabilities, this year's edition united more than 35,000 military personnel from 19 like-minded countries. Korea's Navy first participated in 2021, and the Marine Corps joined in 2023. More than 800 personnel from the Navy and Marine Corps, along with around 10 types of equipment, including Korean amphibious assault vehicles, K-9 self-propelled howitzers, and multiple Chunmoo rocket systems, joined the exercise. With U.S. and Australian forces, Korean troops conducted joint live-fire training, with K-1 tanks joining the drill for the first time, and amphibious airborne assault drills using Korean and Australian assault assets also took place. The drill was seen as a chance to improve operational capabilities.
We've conducted combined joint operations with the Republic of Korea, conducting naval, maritime and land operations as part of ongoing integration training in order to ensure that we can work together in a safe environment and fight together if required.
Through tactical exchanges with various countries, such as Australia and the United States during this training, our unit's combat capabilities have advanced to a higher level. We will do our best to complete our mission with strong unity and ensure everyone returns safely.
The Navy and Marine Corps personnel who took part will depart Australia on Tuesday and arrive at a port in Jinhae of Gyeongsang-namdo Province in mid-August. Kim Yo-jong, Arirang News.
The blistering heat is showing no sign of abating nationwide, and those here in Seoul are seeking public polls to cool off. Our Park On-woo was out and about.
Splashing in deep water, people are wading away the heat. This large outdoor swimming pool near the Hangang River is packed, even during the hottest part of the day. With heat warnings issued nationwide, Seoul hit 37 degrees Celsius on Monday, while similar sweltering conditions are expected throughout the week.
It feels like I'm in a sauna standing out here, so instead of staying indoors, people are cooling off wherever they can, just like in this pool right behind me. In this kind of heat, even a small splash makes a big difference.
The weather is very hot, so I think it's a very good idea to come to the pool and swim a little bit. In Poland, we don't have that hot. Yeah, we are having a great experience.
Compared to last year, my skin feels burning because it's particularly hot this year, which also makes me worried for people working outside.
According to the Korea Disease Control and Prevention Agency, around 2,300 people have been treated for heat-related illnesses this year as of Saturday, including outdoor workers. That's 2.5 times more than the same period last year. Among them, 11 people have reportedly died. This surge is linked to the number of heat wave days doubling from last year. And the damage isn't limited to people. Roughly 2,000 farmed fish and more than 1 million livestock deaths, a tenfold increase from 2024, have also been reported. Accordingly, the government convened a Central Disaster Response meeting on Monday, where the Interior Ministry said all available resources will be mobilized to minimize casualties. Authorities also pledged support for vulnerable groups here, including victims of the recent floods, from further damage. While the weather agency forecasts a slight drop in temperatures later this week, the authorities advise the public to stay indoors, remain hydrated, and rest frequently as the intense heat and tropical nights continue. Park On-woo, Arirang News.
Also on the local front, the Bank of Korea shared suggestions to bolster foreign customer participation on Korean e-commerce platforms. The bank's report on this Monday claimed complex registration procedures are major barriers against potential foreign customers and advised simplifying these sign-up requirements. The report also emphasized the need to adopt international payment methods as well as credit cards issued overseas. Now, despite the growing demand for K-products, findings for last year show foreign direct purchases remained 1/5 the size of purchases made by South Koreans. And South Korea's annual Mud Festival is back at its largest beach on the West Sea. Our Park Hyo-bin files this report from Daecheon Beach over in Boryeong.
Splashing, tumbling, and soaking up the fun. Despite the scorching heat, people are all smiles as they dive into the mud and leave the summer swelter behind. Daecheon Beach in Chungcheongnam-do Province is holding the 28th Boryeong Mud Festival, which opened last Friday.
It is over 30 degrees here in Boryeong, but the more mud, the cooler it gets. This is why people head here to beat the summer heat.
What began as a local event has now become one of the most beloved summer festivals in the world, attracting around 1.6 million visitors last year, many of them from abroad. The only goal here is to get dirty together.
Oh yeah, it's really fun.
It's a lot funner than we thought.
The mud dunk tank was really good because we got fully submerged in mud.
Oh, that's great.
Just completely covered.
Hi, I'm from Miguk. I am having a lot of fun here.
I'm from Canada. I'm having so much fun. I've never been to an event like this before. It's been so fun. Yeah.
You can see it feels really good. I hope it's good for my skin. It doesn't feel sticky or dirty at all. It actually feels really nice.
But the now famous Boryeong Mud wasn't always celebrated. Back in the early 1990s, Daecheon Beach was seen as murky and uninviting until it was discovered that the mineral-rich mud was great for the skin. What was once worthless became a treasure, and by 1998, the Boryeong Mud Festival was born. This year's event is bigger and bolder than ever. Visitors can dive into a mudslide, spin through the mud barbecue, or simply cover themselves in a mineral-rich sludge. There are special zones for families with young children. And by night, the energy ramps up with K-pop concerts and dazzling drone light displays. Festival organizers say safety is a top priority, especially with the record-breaking heat waves this summer.
The heat wave has been especially intense lately, so we've prepared safety measures to make sure visitors can stay comfortable while enjoying the festival.
Officials say more than 2 million people from around the world are expected to join the festival this year. To help visitors from overseas enjoy the fun, interpretation services are offered in English, Chinese, and Japanese. The ultimate summer playground, Boryeong Mud Festival, runs until August 10th. Park Hyubin, Arirang News, Boryeong.
And the Korean animation King of Kings has drawn over 700,000 viewers as of this past Sunday, which also noted its 12th day at local theaters. The film marks the second fastest pace for a K-animation, following Leafy, A Hen into the Wild, which hit the same milestone in 10 days. King of Kings, released on July 16th here in South Korea, is now also the second highest grossing animation for the year in the country, following Attack on Titan: The Last Attack. The King of Kings set a box office record in North America, following its debut in April, earning more money than Bong Joon-ho's Parasite. The animation is based on the book The Life of Our Lord by Charles Dickens. Korean researchers have devised a sustainable method to better protect marine life from the repercussions of phosphorus. Our Cha Yun-kyung explains.
Excess phosphorus in water causes an increase in algal blooms that cause green tides, which kill off fish and other organisms and pollute water resources, destroying marine ecosystems. Existing water treatment plants for the removal of this phosphorus that comes from fertilizers and manufacturing runoffs require huge amounts of power consumption but do not eliminate the algae effectively. Researchers have developed a new type of water treatment that not only absorbs phosphorus in the water but also rids it of the green tide-forming algae. This apparatus uses sea urchin-shaped magnetic nanoparticles on the inner surface of a tube and permanent magnets on the outer surface, which attract pollutants in contaminated water as it flows through.
When 1 gram of pollutant is added, this water treatment system can retrieve a larger amount of phosphorus in 5 minutes, which is a huge advantage.
The inner surface is also coated with lanthanum, which attracts phosphorus, and copper that eliminates the algae, thus removing the pollutants that cause green tides effectively. The purified water can then be reused by industries and farmers and not just discharged into rivers as before.
We were able to observe that the apparatus can process 99% of the total coliform group within the water. It can absorb a large amount of phosphorus, which can be removed and utilized as a cleaner for pipes.
As the water treatment apparatus can absorb phosphorus, which can be reused and eliminate pollutants, the researchers expect that it can contribute to reducing climate change and water shortages. Cha Yun-kyung, Arirang News.
This is The World Now, bringing you the latest stories from around the globe.
The Israeli military has announced a daily pause in military activity in 3 densely populated areas of Gaza to ease the ongoing humanitarian crisis. On Sunday, the Israel Defense Forces declared a tactical pause in fighting from 10 a.m. until 8 p.m. local time daily until further notice in Gaza City, Deir al-Balah, and al-Mawasi while launching airdropped aid. To facilitate aid delivery, Israel has also designated secure corridors for UN and humanitarian convoys, which will be in place permanently between 6 a.m. and 11 p.m. More than 100 truckloads of food, medicine, and supplies were dispatched towards southern Gaza. Meanwhile, Jordan and the UAE also airdropped about 25 tons of flour, sugar, and canned goods into the enclave. The military pause aims to increase the scale of humanitarian aid amidst warnings of mass starvation. However, aid groups say that only under 8% of World Food Program trucks have successfully distributed supplies due to delays and theft, and point out that airdrops are inefficient and sometimes dangerous. A passenger train derailed in southern Germany on Sunday, killing at least 3 people and seriously injuring others. Around 100 people were aboard the train when 2 carriages came off the rails at 6:10 p.m. local time in a wooded area near the town of Reutlingen in the southwest of the country. Authorities are examining whether strong winds that swept the region shortly before the incident contributed to the derailment. German Chancellor Friedrich Merz expressed grief on his social media, saying, "We mourn the victims." Greece and Turkey are grappling with a record-breaking heat wave and major wildfires, prompting mass evacuations as strong winds and scorching temperatures fuel the flames. As temperatures reached 42.4 degrees Celsius in central Greece on Sunday, emergency services battled more than 50 wildfires across regions, including the Peloponnese, Evia, and Crete, with new evacuation alerts issued. Meanwhile, in neighboring Turkey, a Mediterranean heat wave reaching a record 50.5 degrees Celsius has ignited widespread blazes. Over 1,700 residents were evacuated from Bursa, the country's 4th largest city. Authorities reported that more than 70 wildfires broke out within 24 hours in the country. In the UK, a pair of mixed-breed dogs and their human guardians made headlines at the Dog Masters Festival on Sunday, held at a beach in Dorset. 2 teams broke a Guinness World Record, with Matt Jenkins and his dog Gigi, alongside Ben Gray and Boo, breaking the 50-meter paddleboard sprint record in a time of 32 seconds. The festival, hosted as part of the UK Dog Surfing Championships, featured paddle boarding, surfing displays, and world record attempts. Another World Dog Surfing Championships is set to take place in the San Francisco Bay Area on August 2nd. 최지희, Arirang News.
Yesterday was the hottest day of this year in Seoul, rising to 38 degrees Celsius in the middle of the day. It was as hot as yesterday in most parts of the country today. With heatwave warnings in place all over the country, daytime temperatures in Seoul, Jeonju, Cheongju rose to 37 degrees. Tomorrow it will reach 37 degrees again in Seoul, and the scorching heat will continue until the second half of the week. In addition, tropical nights have been continuing for the 9th straight day in Seoul, and this nighttime heat will be severe for the time being. Take extra care to avoid heat-related illnesses. Tomorrow morning will start very warm in Seoul at 27 degrees, Chuncheon 24 degrees. Daily highs will move up to 36 degrees in Chuncheon, Daejeon, and Daegu, 32 degrees in Busan and Jeju. There's no more rain forecast for the time being, but summer heat will continue instead. That's all for Korea. Here are the weather conditions around the world.
Those are the headlines at this hour here in South Korea. Thank you for watching and do stay with us for our daily panel session.